Have you ever caught yourself staring at the ceiling in the dark, unable to sleep, because something inside you refuses to be silent? That restless stirring, that quiet whisper in the back of your mind that says, "You're not living the life you were meant to live." You try to bury it under work, under entertainment, under endless scrolling and distractions. But it always comes back. At the quietest moments of your life, when the phone is down, when the TV is off, when it's just you and your thoughts, it returns. That question you don't want to face, am I wasting my life? This isn't about Elon Musk. Not really. This is about you. Musk is only the mirror. Because when you watch him send rockets into space, when you see him turn the auto industry upside down, when you hear about him risking billions on ideas that seem insane, you either feel inspired or exposed. Inspired, because deep down you know human potential can stretch further than the world admits. Exposed, because it quietly reveals just how much you've been settling. And isn't that the part we never talk about? That silent agreement we've made with ourselves to lower the bar, to shrink our dreams until they fit inside the safety of our comfort zones. You tell yourself you're being realistic. But let's be honest, most of the time realistic is just another word for afraid. Afraid to fail. Afraid to look foolish. Afraid to lose the approval of people who aren't even living their own dreams. Think about this, Elon Musk could have stopped at PayPal. He was already wealthy beyond imagination, already successful by every normal standard. But he didn't stop. He sold his shares, took the money, and instead of retreating into comfort, he threw it into projects that everyone told him would fail: electric cars, rockets, solar energy, brain-computer interfaces. Why? Because comfort was never the goal. Growth was. Vision was. The future was. And here's where it gets uncomfortable for you and me. What if you've been chasing comfort instead of vision? What if the restless feeling inside you isn't confusion at all, but evidence that you're meant for something more? I want you to sit with this truth. The tragedy of life is not that we fail. The tragedy is that we never dare. You don't need to build rockets. You don't need to colonize Mars. But you do need to launch something. Maybe it's a book you've been too scared to write. Maybe it's a business you've been too afraid to start. Maybe it's a version of yourself that's been suffocated under years of self-doubt. That thing you've been postponing? That is your rocket. And every day you delay is another day it sits on the launch pad, rusting in the rain. Do you know why watching Elon Musk either excites people or makes them uncomfortable? Because he exposes a truth we all try to hide. Most of our limitations are self-imposed. We like to believe our barriers are external: money, time, education, connections. But the real cage is internal. It's the story you tell yourself about what is or isn't possible for you. Musk wasn't born with a map. He was born with questions. And he had the audacity to follow those questions wherever they led. Now, let's pause here. Because I don't want you to fall into the trap of hero worship. This isn't about glorifying Elon Musk. He is flawed, controversial, human like anyone else. But that's exactly the point. If a flawed human can still create at that scale, then the gap between you and your unrealized potential is not about perfection, it's about courage. The courage to begin before you're ready. The courage to look stupid. The courage to be misunderstood. I want you to imagine something. Imagine you are 80 years old, sitting alone, flipping through the memories of your life. Do you think you will regret the failures? Or do you think you will regret the dreams you never tried to chase? The relationships you never dared to pursue? The art you never created? The risk you never took? Studies of the elderly show us the answer, over and over again. People don't regret what they did. They regret what they didn't do. And right now, you are living in the middle of what will one day become your memory. Let me tell you a story that most people don't know about Elon Musk. In 2008, both Tesla and SpaceX were on the edge of collapse. SpaceX had launched 3 rockets, and all 3 had failed. Tesla was drowning in debt. Musk had burned through his fortune. He was divorced, sleeping on friends' couches, with the world laughing at him. Reporters wrote that he was the biggest fool in Silicon Valley. And he admitted, "I had a nervous breakdown." He could have quit. He could have said, "I tried." He could have disappeared forever, another forgotten name in the graveyard of ambitious failures. But he didn't quit. He risked the last of his money on one more launch. One more chance. And that launch succeeded. NASA awarded him a contract. Tesla secured new funding. And the rest is history. Now here's the uncomfortable part. The only thing that separates him from everyone else who quits is that he was willing to risk being crushed one more time. That's it. That's the line. Not genius, not luck, not magic. Just refusal to quit when everything looked impossible. So let me ask you, what is your version of that rocket launch? What is the thing in your life that you've already told yourself has failed too many times? The dream you've quietly buried because it hurt too much to keep trying? What if the next attempt, the one you almost didn't make, is the one that breaks through? History is not made by the people who never fall. It's made by the ones who fall again and again, and still get up one more time. Musk is not unique because he's a genius. He is unique because he chose to get up after 3 humiliating public failures. The truth is, you have the same choice. But let me go deeper. Because this isn't just about success. It's about identity. Every time you choose to delay your dream, you are training your brain to see yourself as someone who does not follow through. And the danger of that is enormous. Because your identity shapes your destiny. You don't act according to your goals, you act according to who you believe you are. If you believe you're lazy, you'll act lazy. If you believe you're unlucky, you'll act unlucky. If you believe you're incapable, you'll sabotage yourself before you even try. Musk had no guarantee that Tesla would work. No guarantee that SpaceX wouldn't collapse. But he had one unshakable belief: I will figure it out. That belief was not about the world, it was about himself. So the real question is, what do you believe about yourself? Not the story you tell other people. The story you whisper to yourself at night. Because that story is the cage. That story is the rocket fuel. That story is either your prison or your freedom. And if you've been telling yourself that you're not enough, that you're not ready, that you're not capable, let me challenge you with a brutal truth. That story is not yours. It was given to you. By teachers who underestimated you. By parents who didn't understand you. By a society that profits from your conformity. By peers who laughed at your dreams. You inherited that story. And now it runs your life like invisible code. Elon Musk once said that when he was a child, he was bullied so badly he was hospitalized. He was awkward, quiet, lost in his imagination. Nobody predicted he would change the world. But here's what he did. He rewrote his story. He refused to let other people's beliefs about him define his destiny. And you can do the same. You don't need permission. You don't need validation. You don't need the world to agree with you. All you need is the courage to pick up the pen and start writing a new story. Let me tell you something you've probably never heard before. The world you live in right now is built by people who refuse to play by the rules of their time. The light bulb? People thought Edison was insane. Airplanes? People said humans would never fly. The internet? People said it was a toy. Electric cars? They said they would never work. Rockets? They said only governments could launch them. Every single breakthrough you now take for granted was once mocked, ridiculed, dismissed. So let me ask you this: when people laugh at your dream, when they tell you it's unrealistic, when they roll their eyes at your vision, why do you believe them? Why do you assume they're right? History shows us, over and over again, that the ones who laugh are always forgotten, and the ones who dare are the ones we remember. I want to leave you with this thought as we move forward: Elon Musk doesn't need your approval. He doesn't need your admiration. But you need your own. You need to know, deep in your bones, that you did not live and die as a shadow of yourself. That you didn't waste the one life you were given. That you didn't leave your rocket rusting on the launch pad. This isn't about becoming Elon Musk. This is about becoming the fullest version of yourself. Because the truth is, Musk has nothing to tell you except this: your time is running out. What will you do with it? Let's get honest for a moment. Most of us don't struggle with a lack of ability. We struggle with a lack of courage. The very thing that keeps us awake at night, the whisper of untapped potential, the dream we're afraid to admit even to ourselves, isn't a reflection of what we cannot do. It's a reflection of what we fear to do. Fear is the most deceptive force in the human experience. It dresses itself in logic, in practicality, in reason, and convinces you that inaction is safety. But in reality, it is the slow erosion of your life, day by day, minute by minute. You know that feeling when you see someone succeed, someone like Elon Musk, and part of you admires them while another part resents them? That twinge of discomfort is not envy, it's recognition. Recognition of your own hesitation, your own shortcuts, your own quiet compromises with mediocrity. And that recognition hurts because it's true. You know deep down that you could do more. That you should do more. That you are wasting your precious, irreplaceable time if you don't act. Here's the secret most people never admit: fear thrives in distraction. It loves binge-watching shows you don't care about, scrolling endlessly, numbing yourself with trivialities. Every moment spent in passive consumption is a moment your dream dies silently. It's a slow poison, but it feels safe. Musk didn't have that luxury. When he poured everything into PayPal, into SpaceX, into Tesla, he had no safety net. Every decision was either climb or fall. Comfort wasn't an option, and neither should it be for anyone who truly wants to create something meaningful. Now, let's talk about self-deception. Because fear alone isn't enough to keep you stagnant. You've got help. You've got the stories you tell yourself. I'm too old. I don't have the money. I don't have the right connections. Every excuse you repeat, every story you nurture, is another brick in the wall between you and your potential. Musk didn't have the perfect circumstances. He didn't start with endless support or guaranteed success. He started with a vision, obsession, and a willingness to endure every obstacle until he either succeeded or learned something that brought him closer to it. And here's the uncomfortable truth: most of us won't even try. We'll stay in our small, quiet lives, building walls around ourselves with reasons and excuses, convincing ourselves that we are content. Contentment is seductive. It whispers that mediocrity is safe. But safe is not living. Safe is sleepwalking through a life that could have been extraordinary. Musk's journey exposes a paradox that almost no one talks about: the more you are willing to suffer in the short term, the more freedom you create in the long term. The more you dare to risk failure, the more you secure your own destiny. Inaction feels like safety, but it is the slowest form of failure there is. Every day you do nothing is a day your dreams shrink, a day your imagination dies a little, a day the best version of yourself slips further from reach. Let's make this personal. Think about the dream you've abandoned, even partially. Maybe it's a business you've hesitated to start, a book you've never written, a passion you suppressed. What if, instead of seeing failure as a stopping point, you viewed it as a teacher, a guidepost, a signal to adjust and continue? Musk did this repeatedly. He didn't see failed rockets as the end, he saw them as data. Every mistake, every setback, every humiliating public failure was an opportunity to refine, to learn, to rise. Now ask yourself, what if you could see failure the same way? What if every setback in your life, every heartbreak, every professional disappointment, every social rejection, was a stepping stone rather than a tombstone? The world doesn't reward perfection. It rewards persistence. It rewards those who refuse to give in to fear, who refuse to let self-doubt dictate their actions, who refuse to let comfort masquerade as wisdom. And let's not kid ourselves, this path is not easy. Courage is not an absence of fear. Courage is moving forward despite fear. When Musk risked everything on Tesla and SpaceX, he was terrified. He had every right to be. But the difference between him and most people isn't fear, it's endurance. Endurance in the face of uncertainty, endurance in the face of ridicule, endurance in the face of overwhelming odds. Consider this uncomfortable reality. Most people's average life is not average because of circumstance, it is average because of avoidance. They avoid risk, they avoid discomfort, they avoid the hard choices. They confuse ease with security, ignoring that the cost of ease is a slow death of ambition. Musk's life is a vivid illustration of the opposite. He embraced discomfort, pursued risk, and converted uncertainty into opportunity. And here's the psychological insight most people miss: humans are designed to adapt to challenge, to struggle, to overcome. It is through struggle that we grow. Fear, discomfort, risk, they are signals that you are pushing against the edges of your potential. Musk didn't have an innate ability that others didn't. He had a tolerance for discomfort, a willingness to face the unknown, and a relentless focus on solving problems that scared him. Now, I want you to face something difficult. Right now, you are likely avoiding the very thing that could define your life. Why? Because it's hard. Because it's uncomfortable. Because it might fail. But here's the truth: if it's worth pursuing, it will be hard. If it's worth pursuing, it will challenge every limit you've placed on yourself. And if it's worth pursuing, the only way to fail is not to try. Think about Musk when he decided to make SpaceX private instead of waiting for government contracts. People called him reckless. They told him it was impossible. And in that moment, Musk made a choice. He could either conform to conventional wisdom, play it safe, or he could risk everything for a vision that no one else believed in. He chose the vision. That's what separates the creators from the observers. Observers live in the world that exists. Creators live in the world that could exist. Ask yourself, are you living as an observer or a creator? The life you have now is a reflection of that choice, repeated thousands of times. Every small compromise, every delayed dream, every moment of fear that was obeyed instead of confronted, it has built your life into what it is today. Here's another uncomfortable truth: most people think the problem is talent. The problem is not talent. The problem is consistency and courage. Musk is not the smartest person on the planet. He is one of the most relentless. He doesn't just think, he executes. He doesn't just dream, he persists. He doesn't just imagine, he builds. And the world notices those who act, not those who only wish. And here's where it gets deeply personal: you have the same potential to act. You have the same ability to endure. You have the same capacity to transform fear into fuel. The only difference is whether you decide to start, whether you decide to push past the excuses, whether you decide to risk the temporary pain for lasting impact. I want you to reflect on this: the fears, the doubts, the insecurities you feel, they are not unique. Every human being who has ever achieved greatness has felt them. Musk felt them. Every failed rocket, every critical headline, every skeptic calling him foolish, he felt fear. But fear is not the opposite of success. Fear is part of success. Fear is part of creation. Fear is a compass pointing directly at your growth edge. The next time you feel afraid of taking a risk, remember this: Elon Musk could have retired after PayPal. He could have spent the rest of his life in comfort. But he didn't. He chose fear, uncertainty, risk. He chose growth. He chose to confront the uncomfortable truth that his life could be bigger than ordinary. And that choice created not just wealth or fame, it created meaning, impact, and a legacy. So, I ask you now, directly, what is your PayPal moment? What is your point of decision where you can choose fear or you can choose growth? Where you can let excuses dominate, or where you can decide that your dreams are worth the discomfort? Where you can retreat to comfort, or move toward the life that will leave ripples long after you are gone? Musk is not here to lecture you. He is not here to shame you. He is here to reflect your own potential back to you. The question is, will you recognize it? Will you honor it? Will you finally stop giving fear the power it never deserved? Because here's the unavoidable truth: comfort is seductive, fear is deceptive, and life is unforgiving. You will never get this exact moment back. You will never get these years back. And the person you could become will not wait for you to be ready. Potential is a fire, it must be stoked, or it dies. And now, imagine what happens if you act. Imagine what happens if you refuse to obey fear for just 1 year. Imagine dedicating yourself fully to your most audacious goal, embracing discomfort, risking embarrassment, persisting through setbacks. 1 year from now, your life could be completely transformed. 1 year from now, you could be launching your own version of a SpaceX project, a bold experiment, a risk worth taking, a dream finally unleashed. But if you don't start, that year will pass, and nothing will change. And the quiet voice in the back of your mind will only grow louder, more insistent, more bitter. That is the cruelest punishment of all, not failure, but knowing that your potential went unused. This is where self-deception meets fear. Most people will convince themselves that tomorrow is the day. That next week is the day. That someday, somehow, they will start. But tomorrow is a mirage. Someday is a lie. Today is all you have. And the question is, what will you do with it? Musk didn't wait for perfect timing. He didn't wait for approval. He didn't wait for certainty. He started. Small, imperfect, vulnerable, terrified. And that starting point, that brave choice, is what made everything else possible. Ask yourself, what would it take for you to start? What would it take to acknowledge your fear, yet still move forward? To admit you don't have all the answers, yet decide to act anyway? To risk failure because the cost of not trying is far greater? That is the line. That is the moment that separates the life you live from the life you could live. That is the choice you face every day. And every day you delay, you choose fear, you choose comfort, you choose stagnation. Musk's story isn't a fairy tale. It is a mirror. And that mirror reflects your own potential. The question is, will you look and will you see? Let's move into the heart of the matter. Up to now, we've explored your fear, your hesitation, and the quiet compromises that have kept you small. Now it's time to confront the lessons that Elon Musk's life teaches, lessons so uncomfortable they challenge everything you think you know about success, risk, and human potential. The first lesson is this: vision is everything, but obsession is required. Most people think they can have a vision and a comfortable life at the same time. Musk proves that this is a lie. When you are truly committed to something meaningful, it consumes you. It doesn't allow you to coast. It doesn't let you settle. Obsession is not a flaw, it's a necessity. If your dream doesn't keep you awake at night, if it doesn't haunt your thoughts, if it doesn't feel impossible, then it probably isn't big enough. Musk's obsession was not with money, fame, or approval. It was with possibility. What if humans could live on other planets? What if transportation didn't destroy the planet? What if technology could actually improve human life, not just make it more convenient? That level of obsession requires sacrifice, endurance, and discomfort, the exact things most people avoid. And here's the uncomfortable truth: comfort will kill your potential faster than failure ever could. Humans are wired to seek safety, predictability, and ease. But your life's potential lies beyond the borders of comfort. Musk didn't get SpaceX off the ground while lounging in his apartment, sipping tea, and reading newspapers. He slept on friends' couches, skipped showers, and worked 100-hour weeks. That is not glamour, it is discipline. And it is necessary if you want to achieve something truly transformative. The second lesson is, failure is data, not destiny. Most people view failure as the final verdict on their worth. Musk views failure as feedback, a harsh, painful, but invaluable teacher. The first 3 SpaceX rockets exploded. Each one was a disaster. Any sane person could have quit, said it's impossible, and walked away. Musk didn't. He analyzed the failures, iterated, improved, and eventually succeeded. Your life is filled with smaller, quieter failures, projects that didn't pan out, relationships that didn't work, opportunities you let slip. And yet, your instinct is to hide, to avoid, to pretend it didn't happen. That's self-deception. Musk teaches that embracing failure is the fastest route to mastery. Each mistake carries information your future self will use. Ignore it, and the same failures repeat endlessly. The third lesson: risk is proportional to reward, but only if action follows courage. Musk didn't just think about risks. He calculated them, understood them, and then acted. Many people fear risk without understanding it, and therefore never act. That's not caution, that's paralysis. Musk's life shows that risk without action is meaningless, but action without fear is impossible. Courage is the bridge between the two. You will always feel fear, uncertainty, and doubt. The difference lies in whether you act despite them. And here's the fourth, truly uncomfortable truth: the world will doubt you relentlessly. When Musk pursued electric cars, people called him crazy. When he pursued reusable rockets, people laughed. When he talked about colonizing Mars, they called him unrealistic. And yet, the world does not care about your excuses. It only notices results. The people who criticize you today are the ones who will envy you tomorrow, once you act. This is why self-validation is critical. You do not need permission to pursue your potential. The world may resist you, but that resistance is confirmation that you are touching the edges of possibility. Now, let's talk about obsession and iteration together. Musk often refers to the principle of first principles thinking. He breaks down problems to their most fundamental truths, then rebuilds from there. Instead of relying on analogies or what's been done before, he asks, what is absolutely true? What cannot be denied? And how can I build from that truth? This approach is revolutionary because it frees him from conventional limits. Imagine applying that to your life. The stories you've been telling yourself, I'm too old, I'm not talented enough, I don't have connections, these are analogies, not truths. They are borrowed excuses. They are inherited fears dressed up as logic. Strip them down to first principles. What is absolutely true? You exist. You have abilities. You can learn. You can act. You can persist. That is your foundation. Everything else is optional. And here's the fifth lesson, one that most people will resist because it is brutally uncomfortable. Time is the only non-renewable resource, and you are squandering it every day. Musk wakes up thinking about Mars, electric cars, AI, renewable energy, not about comfort, not about approval, not about entertainment. He is conscious of time's scarcity. Your potential cannot wait. Every day you waste in hesitation, distraction, or self-deception is a day your future self cannot recover. Let's consider an analogy. Musk is launching rockets. Each failure teaches him how to improve. Each day wasted is like a rocket stuck on the launch pad, rusting, rotting, untapped potential. You have your own rockets, your own projects, your own possibilities. And time is the fuel. Every moment you delay, the fuel evaporates. Soon, the rocket cannot launch at all. Now let's address the dark side, the uncomfortable truths of ambition. Musk's obsession is costs, personal relationships strain, sleep is scarce, criticism is relentless. This is not a fairy tale. Success, impact, and legacy come at a cost. And here's the kicker, most people aren't willing to pay that cost. They want the results without the suffering. Musk proves that pain is a prerequisite for growth, discomfort is the teacher of greatness, and endurance is the hidden currency of achievement. And here's something most people never admit about greatness, it is lonely. Musk's journey is filled with isolation. When you push boundaries, you will be misunderstood. People will doubt your motives, question your sanity, and resist your vision. That is not a bug, it is a feature. If your vision is worth pursuing, it will unsettle people. It will challenge norms. It will make them uncomfortable. That discomfort is confirmation that you are on the right path. Let's shift now to a psychological insight that is profound but often overlooked. Humans underestimate their capacity for endurance. Musk repeatedly faced personal and professional crises, and yet he kept going. Most people stop when it becomes too hard, but the threshold of too hard is almost always higher than we think. Your limits are not fixed, they expand when you confront discomfort, embrace failure, and persist. Another uncomfortable truth, most advice is mediocre because most people are mediocre. Society is filled with safe advice, tips that preserve comfort, opinions that keep you small. Musk doesn't take safe advice. He challenges it, discards it, and acts based on his understanding of first principles. If you want to follow in the footsteps of transformative creators, you must cultivate discernment. Question conventional wisdom. Dare to think differently. Act boldly. And here's the final, perhaps most unsettling lesson, legacy is built not by what you avoid, but by what you risk. Musk risks humiliation, failure, financial ruin, public scrutiny, all for a chance at impact. Your life, your story, your contribution, it will not be remembered for your caution. It will be remembered for your audacity. Every risk you do not take is a page left blank in your story. Every fear obeyed is a future unrealized. So, let's bring this home. Musk teaches us that 1. Obsession is the engine of progress. 2. Failure is data, not destiny. 3. Risk must be accompanied by action. 4. The world will doubt you, persist anyway. 5. Time is finite, your potential cannot wait. 6. Growth requires pain, discomfort, and endurance. 7. Legacy is created by the audacity to act, not by comfort. And here is the unspoken truth that binds it all together, your life, your potential, your dreams, they are yours alone to honor. Elon Musk cannot do it for you. No one else can. The fire within you is yours to ignite. The rocket is yours to launch. The risk is yours to take. And the consequence of inaction, of settling for comfort, of obeying fear, is the same for everyone, a life that could have been extraordinary, left quietly in the shadows. The question is simple but profound. When will you start? Not someday. Not tomorrow. Not when conditions are perfect. Today. Now. Because the only thing certain in life is that time will pass, and the potential within you will either be realized or squandered. Musk's life is a vivid reminder that courage is not rare, it is chosen. Greatness is not inherited, it is earned. And your opportunity, your moment, is now. Now, we arrive at the moment that matters most, the point where all the reflection, all the fear, all the inspiration converges into a single question. What will you do with your life, starting right now? You have listened, read, and perhaps felt uncomfortable. That discomfort is the compass pointing you toward growth. It is not meant to soothe you. It is meant to awaken you. Because here's the truth no one wants to admit: your dreams will not chase you. Your goals will not magically manifest while you scroll, sleep, or hope. Potential is inert until you act. The rocket will not launch itself. Only your choices, the daily, relentless, sometimes painful decisions, can ignite it. Imagine for a moment that your life is a rocket, and every fear you have ever obeyed, every excuse you have ever repeated, every dream you have deferred, is fuel. Not enough fuel to lift off. But one brave action, one committed step toward your vision adds weight, energy, and direction. Musk's life is a testament to the principle that action compounds. The tiniest move forward, taken repeatedly, multiplies into momentum so powerful that the world cannot ignore it. But action requires sacrifice. Musk knows this. So should you. Sleep will be stolen. Comfort will be uncomfortable. Relationships may strain. Critics will multiply. Your own doubts will scream louder than ever. And that is exactly why most people quit. They believe comfort and success can coexist. They do not. Growth, achievement, and legacy demand discomfort. And the question you must ask yourself is, are you willing to pay that price? Let's explore one more uncomfortable reality. Most people live in the illusion of tomorrow. They defer their courage, postpone their risks, and delay their audacity. Someday, I'll start. Someday, I'll create. Someday, I'll act. Someday rarely comes. Today is your only certainty. Musk did not wait for ideal conditions. He did not wait for perfection. He acted amidst chaos, uncertainty, and doubt. That is the lesson. Your moment is not when fear disappears, it is when you move despite it. Now, let's dive deeper into the psychology of action. Humans are not inherently lazy, we are survival-oriented. We avoid pain and seek comfort. That is why your fears feel so powerful, they are wired into your biology. But here's the liberating truth: you can override biology with consciousness and will. Every act of courage rewires the brain. Every risk taken strengthens the neural pathways of persistence. Every failure embraced transforms fear from a prison into a teacher. You are not helpless. You are capable. You are designed to endure, adapt, and create. Musk understood this instinctively. When the third SpaceX rocket exploded, when Tesla teetered on bankruptcy, when headlines mocked him as reckless, he did not surrender. He didn't wait for approval or comfort. He acted. And in doing so, he rewrote the narrative not just of his life, but of entire industries. That is the power of deliberate, conscious action, the power you possess today. Let's consider your life again. What dream, ambition, or desire have you been ignoring? Perhaps it's a business you've postponed, a passion you've buried, a skill you've dismissed. Imagine dedicating yourself fully to that pursuit. Not partially. Not casually. Fully. 1 year from now, your life could be transformed. 1 year from now, you could look back and say, I risked. I dared. I acted. I did not let fear dictate my story. And if you choose not to act, that life fades into quiet regret. That dream dissolves. The world moves on. The spark inside you diminishes. The uncomfortable truth is, inaction is far more dangerous than failure. Failure can teach, can redirect, can illuminate your path. Inaction extinguishes possibility entirely. Now, here's the most profound lesson Elon Musk can teach you, though he has never said it directly: the universe rewards audacity, persistence, and authenticity. Not luck. Not talent. Not connections. These are accelerants, not foundations. The foundation is audacity, the courage to be imperfect, to fail, to risk embarrassment, and to act relentlessly in pursuit of vision. Musk's life exemplifies this truth. And your life, if you choose, can too. Let's bring it home with a thought experiment. Imagine it's 10 years from now. You are sitting quietly, reflecting on your life. Do you want to feel pride in the risks you took, in the audacious moves, in the dreams you chased despite fear? Or do you want to feel the hollow ache of potential wasted, of time surrendered to comfort, of dreams quietly dying without ever being realized? The choice is yours. It is always yours. Here's another uncomfortable reality: no one else is responsible for your life. Not your parents, not your friends, not your boss, not society. Elon Musk didn't wait for someone to approve his rockets or his cars. He decided. You must decide. Responsibility is freedom disguised as weight. When you own your choices, you own your destiny. When you abdicate responsibility, you abdicate your power. And here's a subtle but critical insight: the journey will be lonely. Musk's path was lonely. Every visionary experiences isolation because extraordinary ambition unsettles the ordinary. Friends, family, peers, they will question you. They will misunderstand you. They may even attempt to dissuade you. That is not failure. That is confirmation that you are on the right path. When the world resists, it signals that you are reaching beyond the ordinary. Now let's talk about endurance. Endurance is not simply persistence, it is persistence with strategy, with learning, with growth. Musk endured not blindly, but intelligently. Every failure became data. Every setback informed the next move. That is the subtle power you must cultivate: endurance that is not stubbornness, but informed action. That is how potential transforms into reality. And here's a philosophical insight that often goes unspoken: your life is the sum of your actions, thoughts, and courage, multiplied by time. Time is finite, fear is constant, and yet action has infinite power. Every day you act, you invest in yourself, in your legacy, in the possibility of transformation. Every day you delay, you borrow against your future, robbing your potential of fuel it cannot recover. Now, let's apply this to you. Ask yourself, what is the smallest action you can take today that aligns with your boldest vision? Perhaps it's sending an email, writing a page, making a call, researching a market, creating a plan. Small steps, compounded over time, become unstoppable momentum. Musk didn't go from zero to Mars overnight. He started small, iterated, endured, and built steadily. You can do the same. And finally, let's confront the ultimate truth, the one that should echo long after this video ends: you are not here by accident. You exist now, in this moment, with the capacities, insights, and experiences you have gathered. Your potential is not incidental, it is your responsibility. Elon Musk is a reminder, not a template. Your life is uniquely yours. Your rockets, whatever they may be, await ignition. The countdown has begun. So I leave you with this challenge, this call, this final reflection. 1. Recognize fear, but act despite it. 2. Treat failure as feedback, not judgment. 3. Accept discomfort as part of growth. 4. Take responsibility for every choice, big or small. 5. Begin today, not someday. 6. Build your legacy through courage, persistence, and authenticity. Because when the moment passes, it is gone. When the opportunity fades, it is gone. When the potential is wasted, it is gone forever. And the quiet voice that has been urging you, prodding you, haunting you, it will not wait. Elon Musk has nothing to tell you except this: your life is a rocket. Your dreams are fuel. Fear is gravity. And courage is ignition. The countdown is ticking. The question is simple: will you launch, or will you remain grounded forever? The choice is yours. And the world, as always, will wait, but not for long.